Now, the subject of vaping has hit the headlines once again, with 8 deaths in the US reportedly linked to e-cigarettes.
So is it safe to vape? Zoe's here now to investigate. Just explain what's vaping, what's in it?
So vaping, it means using an electrical device and to inhale vapour rather than smoke. And these contain a number of things. It contains water, solvents, flavours. We've got some of these flavours here. And usually it contains nicotine as well.
So they are addictive?
If they contain nicotine, then they are. So nicotine is a very addictive substance. We actually have nicotine receptors in our brain, and that's why smokers find it so difficult to give up smoking, and that's why actually these devices are a really helpful tool for people who are trying to give up smoking. And actually they've found, there's been 3 studies this year that have found that people using e-cigarettes to quit are twice as likely to be successful than using the gums and the patches and the other nicotine replacement therapies
But then, of course,
that we have.
it's probably quite difficult to get off the vaping, because you're then addicted to the nicotine in the vape.
Exactly. So switching from cigarettes to vapes is... Well, Public Health England say that although there is some risk associated, and of course we don't know what the full risks are longer term, they estimate that it's 95% safer than actually smoking. So for people who are smoking tobacco, switching to e-cigarettes is a sensible thing to do.
So do the different types of flavours affect people in different ways?
OK, so we've got some of these flavours here. I was just having a little read of the ingredients. Vegetable glycerin and propylene glycol, which tends to be quite common. And then this one contains double menthol. One has something like glazed donut flavour in it. And this is what we don't know. These are chemicals that are being inhaled that haven't previously been inhaled, so we don't know. Right. Some researchers have said that cinnamon and menthol are more likely to be risky, but actually from the studies that have been done so far, the flavours aren't necessarily that dangerous, and this is often the motivation for people to go from cigarettes to the e-cigarettes, because they like the flavours.
Right.
What happens in the States, tends to cross the Atlantic and end up over here. Donald Trump has said, we can't allow people to get sick, we can't have our youth to be so affected, people are dying with vaping, so we're looking at it very, very closely. I mean, obviously they can shoot each other, but they can't vape. So, so why has the president got involved in this, and why does he consider it to be dangerous?
A lot of his concerns are around young people taking up vaping, so non-smokers taking up vaping, and we don't see that in the UK. The regulations here are much stricter than they are in the UK, in that it's illegal to advertise products containing nicotine. They can't be sold to people under the age of 18. They have to be labelled with appropriate advice. It does actually say on all of these, do not take up this if you're not a smoker. But also, I think it's probably not glorified in the same way. A lot of the diseases and a lot of the fatalities have actually been linked to non-regulated e-cigarettes or vapes, so things that have been bought illegally or homemade and often containing derivatives of cannabis. And there's a particular substance that they found, vitamin E acetate oil, which is banned and can't be put in any of the e-cigarettes or vapes in the UK.
So what about the rest of the world then? Where do they stand on this?
It's in India. I know that there have been some problems. They've decided to ban it in India. But what I found interesting is that they're banning e-cigarettes, but they're not banning cigarettes. We know in this country anyway, 1 in 6 deaths could be prevented if we could stop everybody from smoking. And it seems that e-cigarettes at the moment are what's being most successful in helping people to do that.
And yet they're being banned.
Exactly. So it doesn't make complete sense to me. And I think on that note, we're coming into October, and the NHS does Stoptober every year, so from the 1st of October, encouraging people to quit. And the NHS and Public Health England do recommend using this if it helps you to stop smoking.
And so just finally, anyone who is vaping, you go to a reputable place, you make sure that it's regulated, don't buy it sort of randomly where you don't know where it's made.
Exactly. To keep it safe, first of all, if you're not a smoker, don't take up vaping. But if you are a smoker, go to a reputable store, use a reputable source, and then, as much as we know, it's 95% safer than tobacco.
OK.
Right, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.